Welcome to Living Life and Love.
I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is a global vitiligo awareness and education podcast. You hear the true and authentic stories from people living with vitiligo. Yeah. You'll also hear from their loved ones, medical professionals, licensed mental health therapists, relationship counselors, global vitiligo support foundations, organizations, community leaders, and so much more. Sit back and enjoy living life in love.
Once again, I'm your host,
Mark Braxton. Raleigh, North Carolina.
Welcome to Living Life and Love. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. So today's show, I have a very special guest from, well, maybe not from this area, but living in this area currently, and that is Melissa. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Before we get started and jump into our conversation, I always like to give my guests an opportunity to share anything they want our listeners to know about themselves. So if you would like to introduce yourself and tell us anything you want, then we'll get into our conversation.
Okay, well, I am Melissa Campbell. I am originally from Grand Rapids in Michigan. I've been here for about almost 15 years now. I don't miss the snow. I do not miss the snow. But I'm an artist, visual artist. I've been professionally an artist since 2007, but I just recently started getting into doing hand-painted earrings, and it has become just a great way to connect with community, but also I just see a great way to get confidence and connect with other women. So I'm grateful to be able to join you today.
Well, awesome. And that's what we're going to start off with. We're going to start off with art, and then we'll talk about the other connection that we have. Mm-hmm. So you're an artist. I'm also an artist. I don't paint as much as I used to because I can't say I don't have time. I like to also write poetry, and then I started dabbling with a little AI and put the poetry to music. And so it's a lot of different creative things I do. And then some creativity is used in the classroom. So by the time I get home, I'm tired.
Right.
But I do have a project that I'm working on. The most recent, and we're going to get to some of your things. The most recent thing I've done is the advertisement for the conference.
Yes, and then, I saw that, and that is beautiful. I had no idea.
Thank you.
And that was the poetry that you turned into.
Yes.
A song. That's beautiful.
So, and I know people are like, oh, don't do it AI. Don't do it AI. Well, first of all, I don't sing. I've been forced to sing before, but I don't like to sing. I can write all day. I love music. So this tool is giving me the opportunity.
You said I stay in my lane, right?
Absolutely. And it's funny because I've asked people, hey, do you think you can sing a little jingle for me, a little hook, and I can turn it? And they're like, nah, I'm good. So that's all right. I don't need you now. I got a tool that can help me.
But see, AI, if you use it in the right way, it's great, you know?
Absolutely. And after we talk about you, I have another project I want to talk about. And it's still talking about art. So let's talk about your art. And you know what's funny? I went to school for mass communications, but my minor was visual arts. Yeah. So there's that connection.
Yeah. So I went to school for art and design.
Okay.
I initially wanted to do an emphasis in illustration, but that would mean I've been in school longer, and I was like,
right,
I'm good.
Right.
I love acrylics. I'm not really I do a certain type of thing. Like, even though it was an emphasis in school, like I started out doing a lot of charcoal portraits of children because I love children. I love they're just pure emotion. And I just love that media. But I've recently started doing acrylics and mixed media, that kind of thing. But I just enjoy, I think a lot of times most of the time my art reflects my life and what I'm going through in that season, or it could be a lot of things, but it always circles back to what I'm going through, or something that I see, or that kind of thing.
Okay. That's how I'm at. That's how I am with music. When I'm writing
Mm.
my poetry, it's something I'm feeling. Like I just wrote something recent, a couple of things recently. I put on you not YouTube, on Facebook. It was called Heavy, because
Mm.
you listen to the world and everything that's going on. I'm like, man, this
That's
just feels
so good.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have one I'm gonna put up there probably after we finish this conversation. It's
Okay.
a little fun. I'm not gonna spill it yet until you
Okay.
see it and hear it. But I just like to have fun. I like to be able to express myself, and that's what art
Mhm.
is.
It is.
I often tell people it's not about perfection because as artists, we want things to be perfect, but it's more about your
Right.
creative expression.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we're not
Now,
always inspired all the time.
no,
Like
not
at least for me, like I have my moments where I'm just not feeling this. Like, and I'm not going to force myself to create something, you know. So
I'm
it's
glad you said that.
yeah.
That actually happened to me last year. I was supposed to teach a painting class in Charlotte, and I
Mm.
was excited. I was inspired, but um, going to Charlotte, it kind of brought me back to when my dad passed. Because last time we were in Charlotte, he was
Mm.
with us, and
I'm
I just
sorry.
and I got
Yeah.
there, and I was just kind of like, I'm not feeling
Mm.
it, and I wasn't. I told the class, I'm sorry. I just, this is a little heavier than I expected, and we're
Yeah.
like that as artists. There are times I shut down. I don't want to look at anything. I don't want to pick up a
Mhm.
marker, nothing. There are
Yeah.
times where I don't want to write. I'm not feeling it. I'll try to write and I'll stop. And I was like, I'll come back when I'm ready.
Because our lives and emotion are directly connected to our, I mean,
Yes.
it's who we are, So
Yes.
if you, like you said, that's the place where, remind you of your dad, and
Yeah.
that's your dad passed away. So it's kind of it's a trigger, and it's like you can't ignore that,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
And
Yeah.
and and like you said, people think artists are always on.
No.
No, we're not. When that brain shuts off, their creativity shuts down and
Mhm.
shuts off. We might not.
It's a
I know.
gift. I
Yes.
definitely feel like it's a gift, but I feel like people, like you said, people feel like we just always on, and it's like
Right.
no.
Right.
There could be certain things I could be going through something like where I'm like, I'm not feeling like anything creative right now. And then I'll
Right.
see something and then it'll inspire me to do something.
Absolutely. A month later, okay, I'll pick this back up.
Yeah.
Or I'll do
Yeah.
something else. That's how I am with painting at this point, where sometimes I get inspired, then I'm like, I'm not feeling it. What do I want to paint? And I might paint something, I'll start it, and then I'll start dabbling in something else. And I say, okay,
Yeah.
I got too many creative fronts that I'm looking at. Let me focus on
Right,
one.
right.
But
Right.
what's happening, the writing has taken over because I feel like I can really
Ooh.
express myself through my words rather than painting something. So
I
that's
love
what
that.
being an artist, we're different, we all are different.
Hmm. And we
Now,
don't have
let
to
me
always stick to one thing.
absolutely.
Like allow yourself to, just like with my earrings, like you don't know where it will lead you or how it'll help you grow as an artist and as a person.
I like that the fact that you said that you don't know where it's going to lead you.
If
Now,
you've done it.
I happened to turn on Tamron Hall one day, and
Mm.
your earrings were on Tamron Hall. Can you share that experience and how all
Was it
that came
Tamara
about?
Hall or
No, not
was it Jennifer
Tamron Hall.
Hudson?
Was Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer
I'm sorry.
Hudson.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
okay. No, you
all right,
fine.
people,
They're both
forgive me.
awesome. So
I got my ladies mixed up. Yes, it was
you
Jennifer
fine.
Hudson.
They're both wonderful Black women.
Yes,
Okay,
they
it's
are.
fine. So I connected with Victoria Scott Miller, who is the owner of
Mhm.
Liberation Station Bookstore, one of the
Yes.
first African American children's bookstores in North Carolina. And it was right before her grand opening. For me, I'm the kind of person I just love doing, like my love language is just like doing things for people when I see, like if it's through my art, whatever. And I wanted to
Right.
create some earrings for her, just to let her know that I see her and how proud I am of her and what she's doing for the community. And so I did some earrings of her logo, the sunshine, and she loved them. And it just turned into, I ended up doing like a collection for the grand opening, which went very well, and she's been wearing them everywhere and I love it.
Oh,
Like it
good.
was
Good.
featured in an article she did for Essence and on the Jennifer Hudson show. And um I just like to advocate for people in that way.
Right.
um it's just how I just advocate, but also just celebrate people. Like that's just who I
Right.
am. Like I tell people
Right.
I'm your biggest hype person. Like if you want like I am. I will share something with the quickness. Like I feel like we all have to, we can't do this life alone. You
Right.
know
We
what I'm
can't.
saying? Like
We
we need
can't.
each other and we need to support each other. So that's how that came about. And that was awesome.
Yes.
Like just to see your creation on someone else walking around,
Absolutely.
you know?
And on the big show, like not
Yes.
just a local show, but nationally broadcasted
National, yeah,
show.
that was
Yeah.
awesome. I would
Um,
get text messages from my friends like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "I know," you know. So it was really cool. That was a cool moment.
and it's good. You talked about advocating for people, and we're going to talk
Mhm.
about advocacy also because I do feel like it is so important. But before we can do that, we've got to learn as people, not just as Black people, but just as people,
Mhm.
we got to
Mhm.
support each other.
We
Because too
do.
many times we have been told, I know I've been told before, do it yourself. But
Mm.
sometimes you can't do everything yourself. You need other people. Because if I have knowledge over here and you have it over here, why can't we work together to make it work?
That's right.
You
That's
know?
right. 'Cause look, I've had to work through too on a personal level, like not being afraid to ask for help. Like,
Yeah.
I was raised to do, you know, I have a sister, I have two brothers, but my dad, like, we were shoveling the snow. We was doing, I mean, we were very
Right.
independent as young ladies, and like, um, when you go through life and you get married, you have kids, but like, I think you become very used to like doing things a certain way or feeling like
Right.
you don't need help, but you do need help, and don't be too prideful to be like, I need help, you
Yeah.
know.
And for my men out there, you heard her say that. Don't be too
Listen.
prideful. And I'm guilty of that. I'm like, nah, I don't need help. That's how I
Hmm.
got to the vitiligo community. Because and we're gonna jump
Really.
into vitiligo in a minute.
Yes.
And then circle back to art at the end. But I felt like I didn't need help because I developed my
Mhm.
vitiligo back in '96.
Mm.
So I'm like, I'm good. I'm good because it wasn't spreading that much.
Yeah.
And I say even now, compared to some other people, it still hasn't spread as much as others, but it's still spreading. And I
Yes.
saw that you posted something about it still spreading. Yes,
It
it
is.
it has its moments of dormancy, but it also starts spreading. And I felt like I don't
Mm.
want help, but I needed help. And I didn't know how
Yeah.
to ask for help. But guess what? I had Katrina gave me 3 cards on 3 separate occasions at 3 different festivals.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, how do you find me in a festival full of people to give me a card? Hey, we have vitiligo community. Here's my card. And I was like,
Oh.
yeah. The first time I was like, okay, cool. Second time I'm like, I have one. I'll take it though. Third time I'm like, okay. How does this lady find me
She was
all the time?
persistent. I love that.
And I
Mhm.
finally said, you know what? I need help because
Yeah.
I knew I was struggling, and I knew that. Well, I didn't know there was a large community. Just to be honest, I just thought it's me and nobody else. And then when I was
Mm.
invited to an activity, I'm like, oh, all these people at vitiligo, where
Right.
did I come from?
Right.
Because a lot of times we feel, and I don't know if you feel that way, and we're going to get into that way. Here's why I'm saying this: that you feel like you're all alone.
Yes.
When it comes to, and for the listeners, when it comes to vitiligo, if you're not actively seeking others with the condition, sometimes you feel like you're by
Mhm.
yourself. Because I typically don't
Mhm.
see anybody,
Mm.
in my movements.
Mhm.
But then again, am I looking for people? I'm just
Right.
whatever I'm doing, I'm being mindful. This is what I'm doing. So I'm not really looking to
Mhm.
go, oh, somebody with vitiligo around. But
Mhm.
typically I can go months without seeing people with vitiligo. And
It's interesting
yeah,
because, like, um, it started out on my like around my hairline, my neck, and I was like,
look,
oh, maybe it's a product I'm
Melissa,
using.
hold on. Let's start right there. Put your arms into the camera. So I didn't share with the listeners that yes, you too have
Yeah.
vitiligo. That's our other connection. So
Yeah, on the arms. I saw it on the arms and yep. I saw that. And I'm starting to get it on my face. Like it's
yeah,
really becoming more prevalent. Like this is recent. And I'm like, this is new, you know? So it
yeah,
started out there and then it started. I mean, this has not changed. This is not going nowhere, I feel like,
right,
and then I'm
right,
like, I had to come to the conclusion where I'm like, that's fine. you know,
right,
like
right.
I went to two dermatologists because the first one was not African American, and I said, I just
Oh,
want to know from African American dermatologists if if
now,
this is really vitiligo
right, right. The second one was the person. Where was the person located?
in Durham.
Male, female.
Male. Wow. We're gonna have to have a
Okay.
talk.
And I can say this live because I'm not going to say the dermatologist's name, but Katrina and I
Mm.
had the same shared experience with a dermatologist in Durham that was male, African American male, that was pretty
Mm.
much, yeah, okay, vitiligo, and here's a prescription, okay, and that was it.
That was my experience. It was like you can do some light therapy or here's some cream, but
Okay,
it was just kind of like we're just seeing an uptick of Black people with vitiligo, and it was just
okay,
like, oh my gosh, it was very like,
with
well, that's what it is,
yeah,
you know?
and I think you had the same dermatologist just
Wow.
by you saying it, and I'm just going to say I'm not going to tip the scales in this conversation, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but
okay,
that left me like, okay, you know,
traumatized,
but
yeah,
it was kind of like I don't see from that experience. It was like I need dermatologists to be more intentional about wanting to
right,
learn about it.
right,
Like clearly, you see that is really prevalent in Black people, but I mean it's you see it more
you
visually
see it
with
more in us,
us.
yes,
But like it wasn't dismissive, but it was just like I don't really know about that, so I
yeah,
can't. I can tell you that's what it is, kind of thing. So I was just like. Because for me, I was like, I need to have a reason. I was like,
right,
because that's
right,
how I think. I'm just like, why is this happening? Am I
right,
eating something? Am I stressed? But it was just, and I don't, it's not, it doesn't run in my family, nothing. So it was just after
right,
that, I was just like, okay, Melissa, like this is something that you are just going to live with and like
yeah.
accept it. And like, it's not weird. But I kid you not, like I started noticing more people when I was out and about. Like you notice more people that have vitiligo. I'm just
You do start paying attention,
like,
but I like when I'm like I said, when I'm out, I'm not even thinking about it. But you do start noticing after a while, oh,
yeah.
that person has vitiligo. Oh, okay, that person, that person. But what I've also experienced though, just doing advocacy work, not everybody is ready to acknowledge it. And you got to
Listen,
be careful how you approach people because,
yes.
yeah, because not everybody's ready. And some
Yeah, not
people do
everybody
want support,
is
but some people
yeah.
don't. Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it.
But
I
right,
mean, that like last week, I had a week where I just didn't want to go out because I didn't feel like people staring at me. I was like, I'm just not in the mood. And I just
right,
had to be
right.
like, Melissa, that's okay. Like, even though don't let it last too long, but it's just days, but you don't want to.
It is and that's the hard part with vitiligo. Regardless of what stage you're in, and I say
Mm,
stage because I'm starting to get more spread on my face. I had a
mm.
spot on my neck for like 20 something years, and now it's starting to go up into my chin and get more
Wow.
discoloration around my mouth. And I got one little dot in the corner of my eye that I'm watching. And it
Wow.
hasn't
But you are
moved, but
spreading
it's
like the same, Mark. Like that's
yeah.
crazy.
And then I have the gray,
Oh,
this spot in my hair is vitiligo underneath there. So it turns it gray.
wow.
Yeah. So it's gonna do its own thing.
Hmm.
What I've learned over the years, you have to learn how to embrace it.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and it's a process because some people say, "Oh, just love your skin, love the skin you're in."
Mhm.
I may love me,
Yeah.
but I do not love the fact that I have this condition that's always going to make me
Mhm.
look different from everybody else, no matter where I go. It's going to
Mm.
make me
And
stand out, even if
that's just the truth. Yeah.
yeah, even
Yep.
if I want to step back, like
Hmm.
I can't. It's there.
Yeah.
Um, Now, getting your diagnosis in Durham, when you talk to family and friends, like how did you feel? Did you even acknowledge it or
You know, um, I'm really close to my sister. She's we're 18 years apart. She's older than me, but like I was very open with her about from the very beginning because every time, even though she doesn't live near me, we lives in State College, Pennsylvania, but I would visit like once or twice a year, and she'd be like, "It's progressing,"
yeah,
like I was like, "I know." Um, so she actually encouraged me to go to a dermatologist because I was just gonna be like, I think it's allergy. I just didn't know what was going on, and I was just like,
right.
whatever, maybe it'll go away, but it wasn't. So she pushed me to go, and that's when they were like, "It looks like it's vitiligo." but she's really been helpful because when it first started, like this still looks like a heart, you know. She
Right.
was like, he was like, you know, he's like, just look at the different things that, you know,
Yes.
they could be, and you know, you have a heart, you know, nobody has a heart like that on them. And
Vitiligo, we talk about the vitiligo heart. A lot of us have a heart shape
oh,
somewhere. I have mine on my leg, and then several
really?
others. Yeah, we were sharing it a couple of years ago, our vitiligo hearts.
Oh my
It's
god.
it's so unique. Now, I
And
didn't
I
always
love
see it that
that.
way. I didn't see it like that. I was like, man, I don't like my vitiligo. But
Right.
once I got to acceptance, I'm like, it is unique. It makes me different. I've learned to embrace
Mhm.
it. Like you said, you have your days you don't want to go out. Today is
I
hot.
do.
And
It
I put on
is.
shorts today. I was like, I'm gonna put on some shorts, and people are just gonna have to stare at my legs whether they like it or not.
Yep. Yep.
And I did. I actually went to McDonald's, and saw people kind of looking like, yeah, my legs, my shorts. You got a problem? I'm here to get some McDonald's. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Look.
and that's how I have to see it. Whatever I'm gonna do, I have to just acknowledge there are gonna be the stares, there are gonna be the looks, the whispers, and
Mhm.
the kids are gonna constantly look back.
Oh,
you
the
know.
kids. Look, the kids. So I was a K through eighth grade art teacher for a year at a charter
Oh, okay.
school here in Raleigh. And bless y'all, because that just wasn't my thing. Bless you, Mark. Okay. Um, I mean, it was just a big range. K through eighth grade is like that's a
Yeah,
big range. I loved it. I loved teaching the kids, but it was a lot.
it
But I've
is.
started doing substitute teaching again. I'm going to my son's school and substitute teaching every once in a while. And there was even though like teaching is not a big deal to me, like nervousness wise, but this
Right.
time around, like the first time I had that assignment to do, I was like, oh my God, it was first graders. And I was like, why am I nervous? Because I like in my mind, I'm like, they don't ask questions. Like
Yes.
kids don't. I love that about kids though, but it was
Right.
kind of a different kind of like, okay, Melissa. And when I tell you, it was beautiful
Yeah.
because they what's wrong with your hand? And they were like touching
Mhm.
my hands and like, and I was telling them, I was like, this little boy has freckles. I said, it's kind of like your freckles. I just have like lighter patches of skin. It's just different colors, you know,
Right.
patches of skin. And this one little boy was like, look, I have vitiligo. It was like a scar from like,
That's a scar, man.
and I
Yeah.
was like, honey, that ain't vitiligo, but you are, you know, it's
Right.
precious, you know. And then after that, they was just like, okay, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like they ask, but it's like, I feel like as adults, we can learn from kids because it's like,
Yes.
if you like ask, if you want to ask,
The
you
adults have the
know.
problem, and I've always said that. I
Oh
work with
gosh.
kids, I teach kids, and I know a lot of times we talk about kids being mean and bullying each other. At my school, I don't experience that. For one, I do presentations about vitiligo awareness to my students, so they
That's
all know. And
awesome.
if they're my
That's
students,
awesome, Mark.
they see me.
Right.
I just had one little girl walk by my room last year every day. I love your vitiligo. I'm like, oh gosh,
Oh,
thank you. I don't know who the child is. I'm like, not one of my students, but thank you. I appreciate that. But I think the kids are more loving than we give them credit for. They are
they are.
curious. They want to know. Sometimes they don't know when they do make comments that can be hurtful. They're
Hmm.
kids. I
Hmm.
had a kid in camp one time tell me that I look like a cow and she was going to eat me. I was like, no,
Okay,
can't eat.
we're not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
But she came
Jesus.
back the next day and apologized because I guess she told her mother and the mother must have whooped her or something because she came back
I
in
know she
tears. I'm
did. She
like,
probably did. Like, why would you say that?
yeah,
Right.
but to me, it's okay because it doesn't bother me anymore. I say
Mhm.
anymore because there was a time it did bother me. Now I've learned to embrace it, especially with kids. What happened to
Yeah.
your hand? Oh, I have bio-enhanced camouflage. I can blend it with different people. Oh, that's why
Right.
you're black and white.
Right.
Or I got a treasure map on my hands. Boom, trying to find a treasure.
Right.
So I learned how to play that with them. But then I
Mhm.
got this question just last week. We were talking about the civil rights movement
Mm.
and how, the unfair treatment of black people. And
Mhm.
so one of my students came up to me and said, I have a question. That's okay. They said, if you lived in the civil rights era, would they would you be okay or would they not like you because you're black and white?
Oh my.
I
That's
said,
deep.
Wow. I said, I guess I could drink out of both fountains, huh?
Okay, look,
But that's how they
that's a
saw it. Like,
question.
he's black and white, so therefore he's got the best of both worlds. But I'm like, yeah, but my ethnicity tells you something different,
It's like visually, you look like you could be, or you could be the other. Wow.
but kids, I think kids are naturally curious, and they mean no harm when they make comments. And some younger kids may not understand. They might say, "What's wrong with their skin? What happened to their skin? Or did your skin disappear?" And I'm like, "No, it's still
Did
there. I
it
can pinch it."
disappear?
Yeah.
Right, right, right.
So, but the one thing a lot of people ask, does it hurt? I'm like, no, there's no pain associated with vitiligo.
I get that a lot too.
Yeah, yeah. What hurts, and I have this another song that I'm gonna upload. I took it down. I redid the video. I actually redid the song. It's called "How Many Times." And it's like, how many times can we answer the same question over and over and over and over again? And it's about all the questions people ask us about vitiligo. Yeah, there's no pain associated with it.
And it's not contagious.
It's not contagious. And if it was, everybody would have it because I high-fived everybody at school.
Right.
But that's the biggest thing for people to know. I'm not contagious. It's just a discoloration in my skin due to my own immune system attacking the melanocytes. That's it. In a nutshell. Why does it happen? We don't know. I did a podcast with Dr. John Harris. If you get a chance to check it out, he explains a lot about the melanocytes and the purpose in the body, what they serve, and what happens to them when they get attacked. A lot of great information. And I'm hoping Dr. John Harris, if you go to my Facebook page, it's pinned at the top.
It's on there. Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
He's one of the top dermatologists in the country. Yeah, and I'll get a chance to actually engage with him again this week. I'm headed to the GVF's vitiligo symposium. So I'll be there.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna try to grab as much information as possible. But what we're learning is that vitiligo is one of the mysterious conditions in the world. They still don't understand it.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. And all these years, all the technology, all this knowledge, and they still don't understand why it only attacks certain people, why it's the way it is, I'm like, well, we just have to learn to live.
We do. It's I don't know if you experienced this because we both have it on our arms and hands, but like when I go through drive-throughs and like you're exchanging stuff and people I could tell people like, oh, okay, like take your card or like,
I'll laugh at that because I know exactly what you're gonna say.
It's just like it's interesting, and I've gotten used to it. But like, I had a woman at McDonald's, and this happened last week. She said, "I just had somebody that came through here that had birthmarks like you on their face," and I said, "Oh," and I almost didn't say anything. I said, "It's actually they're not birthmarks." I said, "It's called vitiligo," and she said, "What?" And so I explained to her what it was, and she said, "I never knew." She didn't know. She thought it was birthmarks. Like, you
know what? In the year of 2026, people still don't know. Even with the age of technology, you have everything at the palm of your hands, and you still don't know. I'm like, come on, y'all. We got to educate.
That blew my mind. I was like, oh my goodness. But she thanked me, and she was like, "You still beautiful." I was like, "Thank you." But it was just like, the fact that she commented on it and it led to like me talking and it was an engagement. It was cool.
Absolutely.
But I said, please don't go around saying birthmarks no more.
Right. Yeah, because you're gonna make people upset with you talking some birthmark.
Okay.
Now with that, and that's where I feel people don't know. And so we've made a big push here, Katrina and I, with the community, to do not just vitiligo awareness, but also education, because they go hand in hand. Because we've discovered people are aware of vitiligo, but they're not educated in what vitiligo is, what it's not, and how we live with it. Because when they see you walking in your confidence, they don't see those moments when you're struggling.
They don't.
And that struggle, I feel like it's an ongoing struggle. No matter how confident I am today, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
That's right.
And it takes that one comment or one look that can bring me from up here down to here. And I'm like, oh, man, I see.
That's why I posted the other day. I don't post like a lot about my experience, but I find that being more transparent about it, like even posting kind of helps me
Yes.
Like, this ain't just because I'm smiling and, yes, thank you for commenting that I'm beautiful, all that. Like, thank
Right.
you. But like, this is what I'm going, this is like the reality of what, I'm going through,
Absolutely. The struggle is real. I mean,
It
really, the
is.
struggle with vitiligo is real. And we talk about that because it's more the mental health that we're concerned with. Because,
Mm,
as we are smiling, we're on Facebook, we're doing things, we're working, and blah, 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 blah,
mhm,
blah. There's that underlining factor where we are struggling at times with accepting I will always look different. And
mhm.
today I love me, but I don't love my spots. Oh,
Yes.
there's another spot. Now it's changing. Or what is it going to do
Yeah.
next? Like you mentioned, you have it in the back, you said the back of your neck, right? And
Mhm.
then you start to see some spots develop and you don't know what's going to happen. None of us know. I mean,
That's
to
the
be
hard
honest.
part.
Yeah.
Especially ones that you get it later in your life. Like when
Hmm.
I met Katrina, like she got it later in her life too. And it's like you're
Yes,
used to seeing yourself a certain way. And then it's like, wow,
absolutely.
it's that's a whole thing. And I started going back to counseling last
Hmm.
week. Because I'm like, I need to be talking through this with my counselor.
Right,
Um, so I'm proud of myself for that because I noticed myself kind of slipping into like um it just wasn't good mental health
right,
like
right,
practices, but like I was just like, I need to be talking about this and not just trying to
right.
do this on my own, because this
And
is
it's
this is
hard.
it affects you like every
Yeah,
day.
right.
So
And people don't realize that. They don't realize how hard it is to maneuver in your everyday life, whether it's at
mhm,
work, relationships, friendships, and want to feel like everybody else, want to
mhm,
be what we consider normal. One of the things we did last year was a little campaign called Normalizing Your Life While Living with Vitiligo. And we kind of talked about the things we do as people, from the North Carolina group, the things we do as people to normalize living with vitiligo. Like, I'm a
mhm,
teacher, I like to draw, I like to write, and that's how I'm normalizing it. If I want to go to the movies, I love movies, I'm going to go.
mhm.
And the
That's
movie is
right.
normally a safe place where people can't see my vitiligo until I'm sitting in there and the Michael Jackson trailer comes on, and the guy was like,
Listen.
and I'm listening to a couple. They were like, "Did he really have vitiligo?" And I wanted to say something, and the wife
Oh,
was like, "Yes, he had vitiligo," and she explained to him what it was, and I was like, "I want to be
she's
nosy, but like,
crazy.
yes," but I didn't,
He is
and
exactly
because I
right.
wanted to
She
be
is
just like,
exactly.
yes, but that's my other side where I just look like, "Hey, it's
Mhm.
in your face. There it is."
Right. Right.
So I'm wondering, with the movie coming out, how much more
Mm.
discussion would develop about vitiligo. Because some people still feel like he didn't.
I am
Um,
looking forward to
yeah,
that because, and honestly, like me having it, being diagnosed with it, I'm looking at Michael a lot different. Like, because there were
yeah,
times where I was like kind of skeptical because I didn't know. I mean, I knew about vitiligo, but I was like,
right.
I was all over his body, but it's possible. Like, it
It is,
is.
it is, and there's a way to
Yeah.
hide it because we got to think about it.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Hollywood, and
Yeah.
Katrina and I were talking. It's like, why did he start wearing the one glove? Because that came out of nowhere,
Mm.
remember? And I'm wondering
Mm.
if, because you can have segmental vitiligo where it's
You
just on one side of the body,
can.
and if you look online now, there's a lot of AI photos of Michael Jackson's, and people are like, yeah, see, he has it. Like, no,
Yes.
those are AI photos. But Dr. Harris did explain also in our conversation that he did a procedure, which is one of the many procedures for vitiligo, to make it spread faster so that way you can get to one color. And that's what
Yeah.
he did.
That's what I
And
figured.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I ain't gonna lie, I cracked jokes about Michael Jackson growing up and he looked like Skeletor
Mhm.
and all. I didn't have vitiligo at the time.
Mhm.
And I knew one other person with vitiligo. Then when I went to college, I met this guy that had vitiligo. And this guy was like big football player for Rocky Mount, and
Mhm.
but his self-esteem was so shot. I was like,
See?
man, but I didn't understand it.
Mhm.
Because I
Mhm.
didn't have vitiligo at the time. Not until I
Right.
started developing it. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Now I know
It
what
opens
he
your
was going
eyes
through.
to a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but let's talk about real quick about vitiligo and like when I say relationships, there's all the different people you interact with. I know you mentioned you share
Mhm.
with your sister a lot. Did it impact any other friendships, or did you see people kind of
Um,
treat you differently, or?
So my side of the family, who were still in Michigan, my parents, they were very, like, when I went to see them, I've been updating them on like a lot of things too, like, and telling
Right.
them like this is what's going on. So they ask questions. Like, we're very open about it. Um, my husband has been amazing. Like, he's like, I don't care what you like, how many spots you have, or what. He's like, I love you, and he
Right.
always says that. And he even says, I'll put on some fake spots so that we can match. And I'm like, stop, like, but we have a 10-year-old son, and his name is Malcolm, and he is very sweet. He's an empath just like me, but like he's very he's like, I love your spots, mommy. They're beautiful. Like, he'll kiss my
Right.
hands, like, and draw pictures of me with it, like, it's so I definitely feel supported.
Right.
And that does make a huge difference. Like, the fact that I do have some family members that just stare, don't ask. But
Right. Right.
I think it's I think sometimes people want to figure out how to like talk to you about it without like offending. Because you can see the wheels
Right.
turning, like, it's like you can ask. And
Absolutely.
then I'll have family members that be like, I hope this doesn't offend you, but I think your vitiligo is so beautiful. And it's like, thank you. And I cry. So I just be like, we hug and stuff. But
Right.
it's very I think my circle is very sensitive to the fact that, I'm not used to seeing her like this either. And, but she's still awesome, even though she has spots, but I think they are more prompted to learn about it too, because, I see them being more aware, because I had a friend that sent me like an ad. She was in Target, and it is a model on an advertisement that
Hmm.
had vitiligo. It's stuff like that where I'm like, oh,
Right.
y'all are being intentional and noticing, and so that's awesome.
Yeah, and people do. It's interesting. I'll talk about being in, what was it, Kickback Jackson. I was eating lunch one day and a
Well,
commercial
I love
came
some
on.
Kickback Jacks.
Yes.
Sorry,
They're like, he always talk about food on the show. But
that's all
yeah,
right. Go ahead.
there's a gentleman named Omar from Canada, and he's
Mhm.
in the commercial. And it was funny because when it came on, I've seen the commercial several times. I could just feel like somebody staring at me, and I look over, and it was a gentleman on a couple of seats over, and he was looking at me, and I looked at him, and I just put up the hand. He was like, and gave me a thumbs up because he recognized.
Um,
But I think he was trying to
yeah,
figure out a way to acknowledge me.
yeah.
But I just felt that, like, he's looking at me like,
You
oh,
can
hey.
feel somebody staring at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yes.
Yeah.
It is interesting. But I have those moments where people will share with me, hey, have you seen this? And I say thank you. Most times I've already seen it because
Right.
I do a lot of the advocacy work. So I
Right.
see a
Because
lot
I
of the
know.
things, or sometimes they'll share um somebody's photo or something somebody's sent out there, and I'm like, thank you, I appreciate that. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's from like 5 years ago. I already
Right.
saw that, but I won't say that to them, but I've already seen it because
Just thank you.
they
Mhm.
don't realize how much I'm into the advocacy with the North Carolina community, with GVF, and I was with Vit Friends. I did the radio podcast. Now I'm doing this podcast. So yeah, I'm
Mhm.
connected.
Mhm.
But I do see things a little different sometimes as well.
Mm.
But I also sometimes I have to step outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It is comfortable hiding your vitiligo, and I'm trying to get myself out of that. So I got involved in a
Mhm.
play last year.
Did
Katrina set me up.
you?
Yeah, I'm calling out Katrina. She set me up.
Oh,
We were out doing a community day. We were advocating for vitiligo. We were at oh gosh, Roberts Park. And they had some
okay.
type of community event. So we were out there, and I know she said, oh, somebody that I know. She went and talked to the lady, and they both looked at me, and I kind of waved. Hey, I didn't know I was waving to say, yes, I'll be in a play.
Oh no.
Yeah.
She
But
did set you up.
when the lady said, would you be in a play? I'm like, sure. I'm thinking I got a little tiny role, I'm just going to be a background. No, I had the major role. I was one of
You
the
had
main
the
characters.
lead. Listen. Oh my goodness.
But the one thing I did not think about was my vitiligo. And I said, I'm going to play the character because I'm playing this character, but I'm not playing the character with vitiligo, but I'm someone with vitiligo playing the character. That's the difference. Because sometimes people will get you tied into, oh, you got to play somebody with vitiligo. No, I can just play myself. I just happen to have vitiligo,
Exactly.
And not until I saw the video, I was like, oh, it was really shining up there. Then I'm looking like I can really see my spots because from my perspective, unless I look in the mirror, I'm not looking at my spots.
Yep.
But I'm learning to pay attention to these things, but I'm also learning that I have to step outside of my normal way of moving.
That's awesome, Mark.
Because as a community, we forget we're more than just what we look like. We're more than just the spots. We're talented people. You have singers, you have dancers, you have writers, you have artists, you have professional people. You have all types of people in our community. And I don't want us to get tied into, I'm only somebody with vitiligo. I agree. No. We're so much more than that.
And that's, Mark, yes. I'm sorry. I just have
to
say,
go
ahead. So, like, seeing the advocacy and like social media and that kind of thing, like I think there's there has to be like a balance. I'm noticing like you said, you can focus so much on, yes, we have spots, like we're different, but let's not let that be the only focus, because we all have different gifts, and like it's about connecting as a community and supporting each other in those different things and those different giftings, or just encouraging each other. But it doesn't have to be that doesn't have to be the focus. Like, yes,
absolutely. And speaking of that, the show evolved from living life in love with vitiligo. But I was like, no, not with vitiligo. Living life in love. That's important because you got to live your life regardless.
That's right. That's right.
And I always mention that love aspect of it comes from loving who you are as a person, not necessarily what you look like, because we don't always want to get tied into, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm that, because the world's going to do that anyway. But who are you inside here? Because that's where your beauty comes from.
That's right.
And I had to learn that from a child. And I always like to share the story. This kid kept calling me a butterfly at camp. And I'm not going to front, she was getting on my nerves. She's a little 5-year-old every day. Butterfly, it's butterfly, hey, butterfly.
You call me that one more time. Call me that one more time.
I was like, stop calling me a butterfly. It's getting on my nerves. But then one day I was sitting in the car before work and I was like, butterfly. I said, you know what? That's that caterpillar that everybody sees as being ugly. Because come on, we see those caterpillars, we're like, ew, caterpillar, creep. But that caterpillar knows it has a purpose. But that purpose is not on its outside, it's what's in the inside. Because once it goes through its transformation, those wings come out. It's still the butterfly body. When those wings come out, what do? Oh, butterfly is so beautiful. And that's all we see, but we're not paying attention. It's what was inside that caterpillar that mattered. And that needs to be the same thing with us. And although she kept calling me that whole summer, all I could see a butterfly. So I'm like, man, this is a butterfly. Let me take a picture of it. Click.
Right.
There's another. Man, all these butterflies. Click. I never paid attention to a butterfly like that till that's when she started calling me. And I'm thinking, there was a wisdom in what she was saying, but I didn't see the message at first. Until I was actually able to sit quietly in my car. You know how we do. We get to work, be like,
sure do. Sit there.
All right, I'm gonna sit here.
Yeah.
But I had a chance to think clearly, and I said, okay, now I understand what she was saying.
My God. This butterfly theme keeps coming up in my life.
Yep.
So last year, I was asked to do an art exhibit at NC State. And I titled the exhibit Receive. I had a hard time like trying to figure out how to do like 20 pieces because I've never done that many pieces before. And I was like, Lord. And when we talked about how you don't want to force creativity, but you got a deadline. So it's like, I know I got to get these pieces in there.
Right.
And I took a trip to go visit my sister, and that trip I kept seeing butterflies. I was like, monarchs. And I was like, what is happening? I've always loved monarchs, but I was just like, and I came back and I knew that's what I wanted to do my exhibit on. And I have to send you, I'm going to send you photos of that, because us talking about this, it was like, it was a time when my vitiligo was like really spreading. and me using my hands and creating those
Yes.
pieces during that time, it was just all related. It was just like I was doing like a lot of the pieces were like close-ups of like the actual patterns on like
Right.
monarch's wings, or the words that would come to mind like as I was creating. But like it was about receiving where you're at, and not being afraid to like being, and also being still enough to notice things,
Right. Right.
So it was like this butterfly theme has been
Look,
like you
let me
talking
show
about it. I was
you.
like, are you kidding me?
This is the butterfly. I don't know if y'all can see it. Oh, my
Let me
camera's not going to
see.
let me see it, but that was the
I see
butterfly.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
oh,
was the first one. This was back in 2021.
that one is
Um,
beautiful. Oh my
and this,
God.
I don't know if I can see it again. That's the
Yeah, I can
other
see
one.
that one too. Oh,
And I'm
yes.
like, I'm sitting there going, okay, I get it now.
Yep.
I get it. So even my kids
Mm.
now, when I see a butterfly, I gotta take a picture of it. They're like, Mr. Braxton, why you always take, be quiet. Let me do this.
I'm the
This is
same.
my
Oh
thing.
my
Let me take my pictures of my
goodness.
butterflies.
Right. Let me do this.
So all right, real quick, because we're gonna get close to the end. Treatments. Have you tried any treatments with vitiligo?
Um, so the cream, and I can't figure the name. It doesn't. It's what they always recommend when I can't think of the name of it right
Well,
now.
not it wasn't Opsilor, it was something else.
Yes, it was.
It was Opsilor?
Hmm.
Okay, so that's the latest one that came out through
And I
Insight.
started using that for like 6 months, and I
Okay,
just didn't really see. And maybe I wasn't patient enough, but I just kind of
right.
felt like I'm just putting this on my spots, and
Yeah.
like I don't know. It just didn't feel.
Well,
I don't know.
most creams are really designed to work on the face, although Opsilor
Mm.
can help you repigment on some other parts of your body. But listen to the podcast with Dr. Harris, he explains that.
Mm.
But
That's
that's what I
interesting.
learned the hard way before Opsilor, because that's the only FDA approved treatment
Mm-hmm.
right now. There's some other ones coming out too. But I was given that cream by that dermatologist in Durham,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
knowing that it wasn't going to work for my hands and feet. It was only designed to work on my face. I didn't have
See, they
anything
didn't
on my
tell me
face.
that. He didn't tell
No,
me that.
no.
See that, and that's the
So
tough.
and there's a whole process and reason why it works well on the face. Dr. Harris explains that too.
Okay.
But hands and feet are really hard to repigment.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
most of us, if you have it on your hands and feet, you try to, I want my color back because most people see your hands and your face, of course.
Yes. Yes.
So it's designed to help the face, but your hands, it's a long shot. Not saying
Mm-hmm.
it won't, but it's just a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
And two, one thing you have to understand about treatments, it's not going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
Our bodies
Yeah.
are different. Some people
Mm-hmm.
might receive it and it works for them, and then others, I could be using it and may never work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then the light therapy, they recommended
right,
that.
right.
I got a quote. Insurance doesn't cover that. And
No,
even if
no.
it does, it's still like I'm like, I don't want to. I don't know. Light
Yeah.
therapy was just like, I'm good.
There was a light therapy, or we could do the laser, whatever. We cut some skin off
Mm,
somewhere else on the
nah,
body and put it.
I'm
No,
mine.
no, I'm good.
Mad.
Because what if that part that you cut turns to vitiligo, and then you go put skin on another? No, I'm good.
No, we're not doing that.
It's all types of things that they're trying.
Mhm.
But I could say they are trying. Um,
Mhm.
but right now, what we want truly is a cure. They're getting closer, but not quite there yet. So it may take some
Mm,
more time. And I think
okay.
the hardest part for the researchers and the dermatologists is understanding vitiligo.
Mhm.
It's a mystery. It's doing its own thing.
Mhm.
And even understanding melanocytes, because what I learned from there, we have melanocytes in our ears that helps with our hearing. Of course, there's a membrane around the brain and somewhere else around the heart that has melanocytes, but they don't do anything with color. They have a different job.
Hmm.
So they're still
That's
trying to learn.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we had a very deep, nerdy conversation.
I love it.
Yeah, that was
I
me.
love
I
it.
was like, wow. So I'm hoping
Mhm.
this week when I go to the symposium, I can pick their brains even further to find a little bit more because I have more questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so before we wrap things up, I wanted to talk about a quick project. So I was talking to one of our members from Virginia, and we were having a conversation about books and stories about vitiligo. And she said, are there any stories about vitiligo that are like adventure stories? Because we get the same type. You know, went to school, maybe I was bullied, now I love my skin. And we're not trying to take away from anybody's stories, but she was saying, do we have anything different? Anything unique? And I was like, I haven't seen any. So I do have a few projects that I'm working on. One's already on YouTube. It's called The Pride of Vitiligo Story. It's about a line that develops vitiligo. And I use that when I do my presentations for kids. I use that as a talking point at the end.
Nice.
And the pride itself is about the lion's pride, the pride we carry as people, and what happens to us when we start to change and dealing with other people. And then also it's rediscovering that you have a new family now. You have your family that you love, that takes care of you, treats you well, that you're either born into, married into, all that's your family. But you also have another family now, people that share the same experiences, yet different, you know, that's your vitiligo family. So that's what that whole story is about.
Yeah.
And then one of my friends from college reached out to me one day. She was like, Mark, are there any vitiligo love stories? I'm like, no. She said, well, won't you write one? I was like, nah. I said, no. She said, well, you write poetry. You write love poetry. And I was like, yeah. She said, well, write a story. So I did. And I took it down. I had it on Amazon, but I took it down because I wanted to change it. And I'm seeing the way technology is evolving. I said, oh, now I can tell the story I really want. So I'm working on that too.
That's awesome.
That one, they'll all probably go up on YouTube, you know.
Okay.
And I have one more that's almost finished. And it's a character. I'm not gonna give you the title yet until it's done, but it's a cowboy with vitiligo. And it's a whole
I love that.
It started off as a poem that I wrote. And I sat on it for 3 years because I didn't know what to do with it.
Look.
And then finally, that's how we do as artists. And finally it hit me. I was like, oh, I got the idea. So I've been working on it for the past few months. I'm probably about 85% finished.
Okay.
And I got the music and I know what the images look like. And I'm doing a little bit of AI, but a little bit of my own personal stuff and mixing it and blending it. And that's why it's taking so long, because I want to pay $100-something for an app that could do the whole thing. Let me do it the long way.
Right.
But that one, it's fun to me as well. It was fun writing it. But yeah, it's a action adventure. And I have one more I'm going to work on too. And I was sharing with the lady from Virginia. I said, remember we talked about these stories? They're coming. I said, once I'm done with it, I'll put it on YouTube. You know,
that's needed. That's so needed. Yeah. I love that. Oh my God.
There's so many stories we can tell about people with vitiligo, not just about being in school, but just, you know, action adventure. I mean, you can draw people into our world and then teach them a little something, and then excuse the noise in the background, but then draw them in.
Yes. My goodness, I love that.
So what I always like to do, I like to ask my listeners, but thank you real quick. I want to say thank you for being here. But before we wrap things up, I always ask my guests, I say my listeners, but my guests, to share some words of encouragement for our listeners. So you want to take a moment, just think about what you want to say, or you could just say it, but just words of encouragement for the people out there listening.
I just want people to know the importance of, yes, we all are different in many different ways, whether it's our skin or we could have some type of disability, whatever the case may be, but it's important to just be loving. And whether that's loving in asking questions, whether that's loving in reaching out to other people, if you feel like you need help. When you said, you know, we have our family, but we also have different types of family. And I can't even remember, I'm sorry, how I got connected to you. I think I may have just been looking up something and I came upon our chapter, and how quickly you reached out to me. I'm gonna try not to cry, Mark. Okay. I told you I'm a crier.
Hold on, let me play some sad music in the back. No, I'm not gonna do that. You'll find out we're silly people too. Yeah, we like to
No,
laugh.
it was just it meant a lot. And
Yeah.
like when Katrina came to that
Hmm.
event, she was the first person that came through that door, and I know who she was.
Right.
And oh, it just meant a lot. So like finding community that is apart from just your immediate family, especially when this is not a normal, you know,
Yeah.
normal thing. It's just not.
Right.
But you have to be intentional about just being loving, but also being okay to accept help and reach out. So
Right.
that's what I would say.
Yeah. And yeah. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And I think I wish more. I'm gonna say men in particular will actually be
Mhm.
open to accepting when a community or anybody reaches out, because I know a lot of us say, I don't need help. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I'm good. I am too until I'm not. And then you have to
Okay.
recognize when you're not. And sometimes it's not even about being around to share your vitiligo story. Sometimes it's just being around people that look like you.
Yes.
Because when we go out to eat, we're not talking about vitiligo. We're just
Right.
talking, we're sharing, we're laughing, we're having fun.
Hmm.
Um, and speaking of fun, for people that are listening, we have a conference coming up in June. That's
Yes,
June
yeah.
26th, 27th, 28th in Charlotte. We're going to have a lot of fun. Our conference
Mhm.
it's like a family reunion where people from all over the world come together to share our vitiligo journeys, to celebrate each other. And we call it a celebration because it is the 10th year anniversary celebration of the
Mhm.
conferences. But we're there to celebrate each other and show one
Yes.
another that you are loved, we care for you, and you don't have to go on this journey by yourself.
I'm
And
excited. This will be
yes,
my first year. I'm so
yes, yes.
excited.
And I'm telling you, and after that, you don't want to miss them. I missed last year's. There was so much going on, I couldn't go. But
Hmm.
um, it's an experience for people with vitiligo and those without. And you
Hmm.
get a chance to meet the dermatologists, all the organizations that are involved in vitiligo research
I love it.
and support. I mean, it's just great. And we're gonna have a great time that Friday. We got a little modeling thing going on.
Yes.
Yeah, and then yeah, my first time getting out there to model.
Uh-oh. Wait a second.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But I'm also one of the hosts for the conference too, so
I
I'll
love
be there to
it.
represent us. But also that Saturday, like we have breakout rooms. We're gonna have a keynote speaker. We're gonna hear from the doctors, the latest in research and development and all that stuff. And then that night
Hmm.
they give out awards. And then we have this year we're doing what we're gonna call our MJ experience. That's all we're gonna say at this point. We're gonna have such a good time.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
that Sunday we wrap things up. We get to ask the doctors questions, and we hear from the youth because the youth will have their own conference also.
I love that.
Yeah, they get to go to the Great Wolf Lodge, and I want to go to Lodge
Wow.
myself. Yeah, you never heard of Great?
I have. I've never been,
Oh,
but I heard how
oh,
amazing it is.
oh man! And you know
I
what could
know.
have been great? Your son is 10. I think he missed the cutoff
Hmm.
date. It would have been great if he could have got involved because although he may not have vitiligo, he can also be there to support others. That would have
Right.
been great. But yeah, Great Wolf Lodge is awesome. I haven't been here like probably
Yeah.
about 20 something years, but still.
Really?
um, but we just have such a great time, and we have this conference every year, and even throughout the year here in North Carolina, we do advocacy work. We'll go to different events and set up to talk about vitiligo. We pass out information, and we just
Mhm.
like to share. So, Melissa, if you ever want to join us when we have something to do, some advocacy work, you let
Oh,
us
I
know.
would love to,
Yeah,
seriously. And I
because
decided
it's
to vend for one day at the conference.
okay.
I'm vending.
Okay,
So I'll
good,
be
good,
doing my vitiligo themed
good.
earrings and all kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I will spread the word out there. Make sure y'all get some earrings now. Even if you don't wear
Yes.
earrings, you know somebody who would love to have some vitiligo
Okay.
earrings. Yes,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
unique earrings are out there.
Mhm.
So once again, Melissa, I thank you for being here. Such a great conversation, and look forward
Yeah.
to connecting with you again
Thank
soon.
you, Mark.
And you're welcome. You're welcome. But this is what it's all about. It's all about community. It's all about family. It's all about sharing and caring for each other.
Thank
And
you.
for our listeners, I want to say thank you for being here each and every time. For those of you who listen in, feel free to share the podcast with others. But this
Mhm.
is what I want you to take from all this. Remember, you are supposed to be living your life. I know the world is heavy. We're looking for love and everything. I mean, every time you turn on the news, there's something tragic that's happening, but you still have to live your life, but you got to live it with love. And as I always say, you know, you got to love your neighbor, your friends, your coworkers, your children, your spouse, the person you're with, or whomever. And I know it can be hard at times, but before you can love them, you got to start with you. You got to make sure you love who you are from the inside, then work your way out, because love is important. You have been listening to Living Life and Love. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. You'll take care, and as I always do, and say, peace.